Unscripted, unfiltered, unapologetic. Diner stops and real talk. The voice of farmers, not politicians or promise makers. Just honest conversation about agriculture's biggest issues. At the table today. This is The Farmer's Table, an original series from Pivot Bio.
Hello, and welcome again to The Farmer's Table. I'm Andrew McCrae, the host of American Countryside and a farmer in Northwest Missouri. Today we're headed to Music City to chat with three young farmers who are part of the next generation of American agriculture. Joining me at the Flat Tire Diner in Nashville are Grace Emick of Lewisport, Kentucky, Gavin Spoor of Martinsburg, Missouri, and Quint Pottinger of New Haven, Kentucky. For these three, a diner is not where they do most of their communicating. Their chats with farmers and consumers often take place in a much different arena.
Yeah, I'm not on TikTok. I need to probably get on there. There's a guy that sits close to us. He got really big on TikTok, and now it's just driving so much content through Kentucky. Like, hey, do you know that guy? I'm like, yeah, I do actually. A lot of people are like, you know Farmer Grace? Like, oh yeah, I think I do. Now I do. Now I actually know you. But that whole like less than 2% of the population are farmers. And that was true for our parents' generation. I'm interested to see what it's going to be for our generation. You don't have that sit around a coffee shop anymore because there aren't enough guys in the business.
There's not a lot of young guys in my local community that are farming.
Or they're potential competitors. You got to be careful what you say around them.
Sure. Yeah. So, I've done a lot of networking with first-gen guys solely through social media, and we'll get together when we can, but it's almost all over the phone, bouncing ideas back and forth, what's worked for you, what hasn't worked for you. I like the competitive aspect of it. I mean, regardless of whether they're local or not, growing the popcorn operation, I love when younger guys reach out and ask for advice if they want to start growing popcorn in their area. I give them almost every bit of advice that I've got because I want to pass that knowledge on to them. We're kind of all in the same game, you know. We're growing food for the country, so if I can help them grow, I mean, me and that other small guy a couple states away is not direct competition as much as it is, you know, the big popcorn producer or whatever. So,
do you still go to the diner then?
I haven't been in a long time. There's no like small diners around me unless you go to Owensboro, which is 30 minutes away, and well, fuel's expensive, so.
I was talking to my sister about that 2 weeks ago. If she wants to start up something in our town, there's not enough foot traffic coming through a town of 300 people. You have to go 30 minutes.
You can't charge $4 for a cup of coffee because the guys are like, I can get it for a nickel at the gas station.
Right. So you almost have to go 30 minutes down the road to the town of 12,000 if you want enough foot traffic to be a viable business.
Yeah. Well, the distilling industry's done something interesting for us because it's recreated, it's put a lot of wealth back into rural America. I mean, it's wealth distribution done the correct way. Let the private market do it. And that's how we've had to change the view of our farm. How much money can we put back into the rural community? How much wealth can we distribute there? And we're starting to see why gas stations put on a little coffee shop. So I'm starting to see that a little bit now. And it's fun to go in there at lunch and just sit down and have a plate lunch, even when we don't have time, because you get to hear what everybody's talking about, what everybody's doing.
In the past couple of years, with the influx of people coming out of the city back into the rural area, there's lots of people that gripe about that. But is that such a bad thing? Because if we can switch our focus and grow a crop or grow some food specifically for those people that are moving back, you just created a new market. Instead of getting mad at them because they're mad at you for blocking the road in a tractor, you know, switch your mindset to, I'm using this tractor and I'm going to grow the food and sell it to you locally, and I'm going to add a premium to it, and we can all coexist.
So why do you all share stories on social media? Is it more just to connect, or is there a purpose? Why?
I do it because when I was younger, growing up in ag, there was nobody as far as a female that I would look up to. So it was just me kind of navigating that on my own. So being able to provide that for other young women that want to get started in the industry is special to me.
So you did it because you wanted to, was it to inspire others?
Yeah, a little bit. At first it was entertainment, but now that I see what influence I have on the younger generation, it's more important to me now than it was when I first started.
I use social media to network with other young guys. I use it to bounce ideas back and forth. But I mean, I also use it because I'm showing off a product that I'm growing. I talk about the crop in the field, and that does equate to sales. But I don't want it to be one-sided. I don't want to be the only one that gains from that. So yeah, I'm talking about my popcorn and you're gonna buy it and consume it. I'm gonna profit from that. But I want it to be educational or entertaining. I want everybody to win. I want it to be a win-win, not a win-lose. And I think you have to view it like that if you want to be successful long-term. So, and people love watching how their food's, it's entertaining to watch how your food's grown, because they can't grow, not everyone's going to be able to grow popcorn in their backyard, but they can watch me do it, and I can specialize in that, and they can tag along for the whole growing season, from when that seed comes out of the ground to when it gets bagged and shipped to them. So that's kind of, I've focused in on that niche and been successful with it.
I don't have a massive social media footprint like Grace does, or even Gavin, and I post a lot as an outlet. And I've found that there are people that we participate with, the distilleries, the deer hunters, and landowners, they like seeing the pictures. And so I usually don't post anything unless it's a picture, unless I have just some crazy idea about why Kentucky basketball can't win a game. But
Farmers have always taken care of what they value. They cultivated bountiful land and fed a nation hungry for progress. As Americans dialed up, precision on the farm led to yields once thought impossible. But when it came to nitrogen, it wasn't precise or predictable enough. Farmers deserve a nitrogen worthy of who they are and what their land can provide. And now there is one.
Well, do you think it's more about talking to other farmers, or is it talking to the consumer? And I know you said it could be both, but what is it for you all? Is it to try to market?
It almost depends on the platform, because, like, say TikTok, for example, a lot of TikTok is just the consumer interested in the popcorn. I use Instagram and Twitter as a way to network with other farmers, because Twitter, I view Twitter as my dad and grandpa. I don't have a dad and grandpa to tell me about farming, but if I have a farming question, I'm going to Twitter with it, and there's 15 or 20 dudes who will give me an answer, and they'll all be different answers, so I'll just pick the one I like.
that comment section's always gold.
Yeah.
That's where the real content is, for sure.
Which platform is best? And it could be for whatever. What platform is best? Because you are out there everywhere.
Like my favorite?
Sure.
I like Instagram the best. But as far as the best in giving valuable content would probably be YouTube, because that is a longer form of content and I'm able to go more in depth about different things rather than a 30-second video on Instagram or TikTok that doesn't require a lot of attention. So YouTube is where I can really show more of my daily life and kind of what goes on behind the scenes of a farm.
So we've got to talk about this. You guys can weigh in on it, but your biggest video was about you driving a truck.
Yeah.
Why?
So I started driving semi this past year, and I learned from my dad. We drive old trucks, so we double clutch all of them, and of course all the experts on the internet, all the super truckers that,
What are you doing?
yeah, they all have something to say about it.
Somebody teach her how to drive.
But in the end, that's more money in my pocket.
I tell you what, I think I like posting on Twitter, or most of my social media, because I think farmers take themselves a bit too seriously. And I do so much stupid stuff on the farm because I don't think before I do it. And I'll usually document that. Like, I cannot believe I plugged up a bin, or ran a stump through the combine, or something like that.
Right.
It's like everybody does it. This is the world we're living in, and it creates an opportunity to have a conversation.
Yeah, and I think another thing is that, especially doing it for like entertainment purposes, it creates that outlet to not get so upset with everything.
Yeah.
So if something bad happens, record it, make a joke out of it, and move on. Figure out how to fix it, and that's how it is. But sometimes it's hard to do that if you don't have an outlet for it.
Yeah.
So getting other people to laugh with you makes it a lot easier.
Commiserate. You know, in farming, we think about mental health. Is it a release for you all?
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know how they did it back in the day. I guess they just talked to themselves
They
or
went to the
listened to the
coffee
radio.
shop
They
and
went to the
talked.
coffee shop. Right, our coffee shop just is now on our cell phone. Yeah, that's how you could look at it. I like having people I can bounce ideas off of, and I'm happy that even if I'm stuck in a tractor all day long, I can still get on my phone and talk to somebody.
It's so interesting because if you look at I think finding community is a big issue right now, just with the younger generation because of social media. But in ag, at least what I've experienced, it's the opposite. We've been able to rediscover community through it. And it's almost like it's the good side of that. Now there's a lot of bad out there, especially in ag, there's a lot of bad. People will attack somebody else for doing something. But finding community is so difficult in this industry because there aren't as many of us in a geographical area anymore, and that's where we find it.
What does the generation ahead of you all think about all the time on social media? I'm afraid to shoot video around my dad because it looks like, okay, we're wasting time.
My dad thinks it's pretty cool. So my dad works at a factory, and every time I come out with a new video on YouTube, him and all his work buddies will go to the break room and watch the video.
Super cool.
They think it's so awesome. And
Do you think we're influencing consumers at all? Is that one of the big reasons we do this or not?
I think it's opened the door to do it because you have a log. You don't have to tell them what you're doing. If they don't want to believe, they're going to believe what they're going to believe. It's almost become a religion. But the ones that'll listen, the ones that are curious, we don't have to spend time talking about what we do. It's up there. I have nothing to hide.
Yeah.
The good and the bad.
Yeah.
Go check it out.
I guess I don't view it as wanting to influence.
Yeah.
I just want to share, and you take what you want from it. You know, I don't want to influence.
And please let me
someone.
clarify something if you have an issue.
Yeah. Let me tell you what I'm up to, and if you have questions about it, let me know. And that might create a whole nother video that I can make for you guys on what you're interested in.
Exactly.
And we've done such a good job at creating a safe food supply that people no longer have to worry about where their food comes from. They can now worry about 10 other things going on. And I think that's amazing.
Well, I think you're right, but I think inflation is real. I don't want to get off on a tangent on economics, so I'll just keep it at that. But we're so used to spending so little of our money on food that it's no longer the lower income people that are going to start recognizing it. And we are, I think, going to get a lot of pressure. Why are eggs going up? Well, for the last 4 years, we've had this disease running rampant through the U.S. Right. Let's talk about it and have a real conversation about what's coming so that you can prepare. And I think we're going to see a lot more of that because food is going to be such a bigger part of a household budget.
What's your family think about how much time you might spend on social media?
yeah, I think, because that's what provides for me. That's what pays my bills for the most part. So I think that adds a lot of value to it.
What's the biggest misconceptions out there about farming that you see from your interactions on social media?
Farmers are rich. Farmers are rich. Well, we do that to ourselves. I mean, when you drive in a new truck, or you're driving, or have a nice house, I mean, that's the perception. You have money. Farmers are making too much money. Farmers are getting too many subsidies from the government, and you almost have to have a finance class with people because they don't understand it. And to be honest, I don't think people in their own households know how to control cost. So it's a whole other aspect of it. You know, the whole must be nice. It is nice. I worked my butt off to get here. Not rich, just running a business.
It's a different world, and these three young farmers are leading the way for agriculture's next generation. We want to thank Quint, Grace, and Gavin for sharing their unique perspectives. We'll see you next time on The Farmer's Table.